The views and statements I, Jennifer Massey, share on this podcast are offered in my personal capacity as a private citizen and as part of my work with this nonprofit. They do not represent official city positions, policies, statements, or decisions, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the city, the mayor's office, or the city council, or any other department or employee. Nothing discussed here should be understood as official action, directive, opinion, commitment, or legal advice. If I'm speaking in an elected or official capacity on any topic, I will clearly state that at the time.
This is FAFODDS, the find out phase. Cut through the noise, tear the lies apart. No feelings, no fears, no bending the truth. We deal in the facts, the evidence, the proof. This is FAFODDS, this is the find out phase. You twist the story, we call it out. You hide the truth, we drag it out.
Welcome to FAFODDS, the Find Out Phase, the podcast where receipts are the standard. This is a space for real conversation about what happens after the choices are made, the stories get spun, and the public deserves the truth. We cover civic issues, community impact, and the moments when actions finally meet consequences. If you're here for transparency, straight talk, and a little bite with your facts, you're in the right place. This is FAFODDS. Welcome to the Find Out Phase.
All right, so here we are. Take 5 today. Welcome, everybody.
Oh my gosh, you're still here as Aldo. You're in hiding still.
Hiding in plain sight, yes. Hiding in plain sight.
Oh, so you're more frequenting local establishments versus like out of the county?
Yeah, you know, I was out of town for a little while, and I missed the blight that was brought to us by some people. So I, had to come back and started going to local establishments again.
Oh, okay. So you're not worried about losing the competition to Brie?
You know, I have sources places.
Is it because you tip more than $3?
I tip more than $3, and I don't need somebody to bring me 37 bottles of ketchup every time I sit down.
Oh, gosh. Well, you know what? That pays to be nice to the servers.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some fabulous service. We have fabulous restaurants around town.
Lots of them.
Yes, exactly.
I actually thought it would be interesting for the competition that we have on our transparency page. If you haven't voted, go vote. But little friendly competition. We have Bree at 27 votes, holding 54%, and Adam at 24 votes, which is 48%.
Dang. Mercedes, did you vote?
I did.
Oh, hold on. What were those numbers again? 54 and what?
54% for Bree, and you at 48%.
54 and 48 ain't 100 in my book. Just saying.
And we never said it was out of 100.
Well, isn't that how percentages work?
But it's just that's just how Facebook's calculating it. At Bree at 27 and you at 24.
Okay.
The point is you're losing.
And you voted for yourself, right?
No, I rescinded my vote.
Okay, so you voted and then unvoted after you got pressure after it was like liking your own picture, apparently.
Yes.
Which there is people that post their manifestos and like their own posts, which is awesome.
That is incredible. And you didn't vote for yourself, right?
I did not.
Okay, did you vote, Sage?
I did.
Okay, I haven't voted yet. I'm saving my vote just in case.
I voted for Bree, so.
Ooh, nice. Girl power.
Girl power. And I have an entourage of security that protects me.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you kind of need it if you've been in hiding a little bit.
Because I think Adam would just be like, "Oh, I got caught," and I think Bree would. I think she'd run.
I'm utilizing my sources. I mean, if you're a mob boss, then I'm gonna be a mob wife.
I didn't know I was a mob boss. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I think
it's fabulous that people think I have more influence and power.
I find that. I'm Italian, so to me that's a compliment.
Yeah, I feel like they got that wrong though a little bit. Like if they were going to call anybody anything, like I feel like you should have been the mob boss. Like
it's because they have no idea. They have no idea.
They literally don't. But they think I have more influence on things that I absolutely do not. It's wild. Quite honestly, I wonder some of the times if they believe I have so much power, like my aspirations are way too low. Like, I mean, I should be shooting higher if I have as much power and influence as I do, because I don't have shit for power. Like, literally. But I would consider you more the mob boss, because you're more of the silent, scary type. We've already established.
You don't understand. It's just a 1 in 5 vote. But now that you have it, you're the mob boss.
Well, I'm here in a citizen capacity, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so can't talk about that, but,
But today we're talking about the Holy Grail.
Well, Yeah, we're talking about the Holy Grail. We're actually part 2. This is part 2. Our other one, obviously, episode is hitting today, and that was for the first Toski public record request against the city of St. Helens. It was approximately 230 records that were released. Our nonprofit got those records, and I find it very interesting still, and we talked about it on the podcast that is come out today, is the fact that, you know, there was a fee waiver provided for those documents, which obviously that's taxpayer funds, you would think, right? Because it's a reduction of staff time, and
Maybe he just doesn't respect the staff and doesn't think they're worthy of being paid.
I have no idea, but also legal, like I'm sure that there was legal fees that are associated with that, you know, the citizens are paying for. And we all collectively appreciate public records. I think that's one thing that we can agree with, that we have put in public records ourselves. We don't ask for fee waivers, though. That we make that very clear. We don't get those fee waivers, but also we just think that transparency in government, that's how we all got started in this and pushing forward with a lot of the, you know, objectives that we started working on, was because of public records. So we actually appreciate that. And we appreciate all the records. Like, I know personally that I'm super excited. You guys have heard me jumping up and down and like it was Christmas, and I was so excited for the public record. So I actually was happy that, you know, personally, that they were being released.
So I didn't have a chance to look at all these records, but I can about guarantee you one thing. There was nothing in there that was super incriminating of you, because it would have been all over the place.
Well, that's the other thing, is that there was nothing that was published online. We talked about that in the episode, right? There was nothing in those approximate 230 documents that were ever released, and we talked about why. And it's because the belief or our opinion was because they didn't fit the narrative that was trying to be created. And, you know, I always find it interesting with the diatribes or manifestos that are put out on social media that, you know, claim all this bullshit that's not true. And if you have records then and receipts, why not produce
them?
Exactly. Instead of, you know, one, posting nothing at all and just this nasty ass diatribe of bullshit, or like shit out of context and put it to try to fit a narrative. And it's just absolutely insane. And I think that, you know, our fellow citizens and the people that reach out to our nonprofit, they get it. They're seeing what's going on. And I think that is the first step to trying to correct the trajectory of how social media is being abused and a small group of people are creating division. And, you know, one of the things that came up recently, too, is why is our nonprofit still, you know, in this pissing match between this small group of individuals? Like, what's your opinion? Why are we constantly in this pissing match still where we're just not letting these things go?
Because we have to correct the misinformation. We don't really get involved until somebody puts bad information out. Remember, we worked for years in the back, not saying a word, until people started attacking our organization and putting out misinformation.
Let me just say, they're not just attacking our organization. They're attacking our actual characters, family. It's stooped to a very low level.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I know for me that there is one individual specifically that people are reaching out and worried about my personal safety as an individual, because some of the I'm going to say the bullying, harassing, and really, I think, nearing a cyber stalking type issue is getting very concerning, and also doxing. And, you know, there's a level when you're a public official, which I'm talking about a citizen capacity, but in general, elected officials, that there's a threshold that has to be met. When people start crossing the line and start attacking people that are non-elected officials and doxing them, that's when it becomes problematic. And the thing is that I'm of the opinion that people will misstep at some point, and then it's hellfire. That's just the way that it works, right? It's the whole theme of our group. It's either Friends Against Fraudulent Organization or fuck around and find out. And we're in the find out phase, folks. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah.
And I would like to point out with these records, with these small group of people too, in case anyone hasn't noticed, which a lot of people are noticing, it is a moving target. When they cannot pinpoint and actually produce evidence of something they're trying to say, that it just moves. It goes to the next thing. So the next thing they talk about is the collusion, and now it's ethics.
It's called moving the goalposts.
Yeah, and people are picking up on it, and it's not one thing, and then next week it's going to be a new narrative because they didn't get enough information or highlight enough 2-paragraph sentences to create a good story for themselves.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was, again, an impromptu because we wanted to come out and we have, our nonprofit got the same documents that everybody else did, which was approximately 2,700 new documents, public record requests. And
Did they produce anything good?
no.
What?
Well, I guess that it's the perspective of whether it's good or not. I think that this release of records is great because they're all out there, and I think that there's some good nuggets on maybe a bigger picture of stuff that was going on in the background that created all this that had nothing to do with collusion. Because if we look at this entire records, there is still almost 2,800 in total, and there's still zero evidence on collusion for 24-hour coverage with myself and Greenway. It didn't exist. We're all aware of that, but it's that narrative and the whisper campaign that kept getting pushed out there. And still, has anybody seen one piece of evidence? You can't just manufacture it. Well, I guess that you can kind of try.
You can try. You can clip and
It depends on who you
take
are.
stuff out of context. And
Yeah.
Are these not the same files the DOJ got?
Well, I think the DOJ, I know that the DOJ got enough files and information to render an opinion.
And they found nothing.
Correct.
they didn't even find enough to actually look. They said, this is just stupid.
Yeah, and I can't speak to what the DOJ said or did not say, but I can say that when you have enough public information, especially 24-hour coverage, and the appearance of a political assassination based on sour grapes, I think that, and I adore these guys, but Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see the bullshit, right? I think that just in general, people can see that. And so I think it's great that the documents came out, and I think it's great. I mean, I know that we have, started reviewing them. I know you guys had to put up with me because I was so excited for them to come out. It was something I personally was happy that they got out, because I just got tired of the rumor and the bullshit. And when you talk about, the supplemental report, that was supposed to be this, oh my God, smoking gun bullshit, and it's fucking bullshit. Like, it's literally a gossip calling them a bullshit. And I am super excited about that. And we can talk about that a little bit because it's in the public record request here.
How big was that supplemental report that was supposed to be hundreds of pages of just incriminating information?
It was 3. What, 3?
Wait.
3 pages?
Did you say 3?
Yeah, I think it's 3. It's 3 pages. So this whole thing that was like, you first got the band report of the 108 pages, and I broke that sucker down on social media wherever my name showed up. And again, the longest interviews from the officers, my name never came up once with any type of collusion. Then you have this, this whole thing with the supplemental report, and it was like, oh, this is going to be a smoking gun. Oh my gosh. And I think the way that it was, the narrative that was being created, if it was going to be this super comprehensive, oh my gosh. And it's like, yeah, exactly. So I think it's funny because on the first part of it, which is this one was on March 10th. It's funny because it's a regurgitation of what one of the officers said in the first part about the email that I don't know how many, times that we had to talk about this freaking email, which showed up at the beginning of the public records, which is hilarious because we broke it down. People don't realize that email was never ours, never my husband's. We don't even know who wrote it. We spent a stupid amount of time.
100 hours between us.
We even used our attorney to try to see if we can get the information, a digital forensic lab, and without a subpoena, we couldn't. So, I mean, that was horseshit. And then I listened to Ms. Gilbert talk about, on her recorded statement that she thought it was me. Like, that's bullshit. It's been bullshit. It's bullshit. It's going to be bullshit forever. That's never been us. And so the beginning of this was a total, basically regurgitation of gossip that was not factual whatsoever. And then we get into Miss Gilbert's testimony, which I think is interesting because there's other public records about how she, in the first batch, about how she reached out to Joe in December.
Joe Hogue, the
Yeah.
acting police chief.
Yeah, because she wanted to offer her support. Yeah, and that was after our falling out. And it's
What
interesting.
was that? Her support for the person who she wrote in a text message somewhere she thought was an idiot? Or
No, she said he's a dirtbag.
dirtbag. That's right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, I believe that I don't want to be a big fat liar. So it's like, I believe she said he's a dirtbag. And we produced those at some point, I think, those text messages. But, then, she offers that support. So she, engages herself, which it seems like, from our opinion, I think collectively is what she generally tries to do. She says she's a political advocate and talks all this stuff. And she did not lead my campaign. I don't know how many times I had to say that. She wasn't an advisor to my campaign. Did she periodically give peer reviews from documents like 10 other people? Yes. You guys ran my campaign with me. You guys have my passwords, all of that. In fact, we got to a point where the drama was so much that we kept saying, don't go online and just stay away from this stuff. We just want to be friends. How many times did we collectively as a group understand the confidentiality aspect of the things that we talked about, and that did we explicitly say that we were not sharing any confidential information that we had with Jenny Gilbert?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times did we have an agreement on that? Like,
A lot.
do not share anything with her, because we didn't feel that, even though we considered her our friend, we didn't trust her with the information because of the fact that,
She kind of flip-flopped.
Guess we should have listened to everyone that told us.
well, she flip-flopped, but not only that, she also, based on my recollection, recorded people at the Columbia County Republican meetup, if I recall correctly, and also like at the Elks Lodge. And so we collectively were always concerned about the things that we said or we put in writing, because we never knew if she was going to be recording us or putting text message out, but we still wanted to give her the benefit of a doubt and actually considered her a friend. So we were just cautious with the information we had collectively as a nonprofit.
Right.
But anyway, she interjected herself in here, and because I have this report up, I wanted to chat about it for a second, because there was a couple things that came up on me going to Greenway's house. We talked about it in the first episode, so before this ever hit on the supplemental report. It wasn't a freaking secret. It was, if there's something that was just like said, it was like, hey, don't say anything. It's just like, don't run your mouth, okay? Because you obviously run your mouth. Don't run your mouth. That's what that means. But for us, it wasn't a secret. We talked about it collectively as an organization. We wanted to go to the source. As a licensed private investigator, I don't like hearsay. I want to go directly to the source and get the information from the individual.
Non-disciplinary administrative leave.
Yeah. So that's where we talked about it in the first podcast. You and I were actually supposed to go together. You just didn't work very hard and weren't very productive. Just kidding. And you got hung up. So
More than likely.
And so I didn't even know where Greenway lived. I had to look it up to find his address and wasn't even sure if it was right, and just showed up hoping that was it. I called you right after I left, right? I
Yep.
got to see the letter. It didn't say anything. Still didn't know. He didn't know why he was put on disciplinary
And you
leave.
only went to his house one time.
Correct. So
time.
I recall seeing Greenway a few times. One was during Terry's campaign, and we talked about this, I think, the first episode. And that was in 2022, and we met at Pine Street Biscuits, the three of us, because he had been doing research on House Bill 3115. So we specifically went there to get all of that information and just sit down, and we had like coffee or whatever the case is there. So I don't even think we ate. Like, I just think that we actually just met and talked about House Bill 315. Then I saw him at a police banquet, I believe, in the trailers at the PD when they had pizza, when there was a budget issue.
Yeah.
So he was at that one, and then a national night out. That's it. I didn't have a substantive relationship. I had periodic conversations, and they were all basically regurgitated on what it was about. Either staffing levels, threat assessments, how permits work, how credit cards work for the police. If we could do a fundraiser for Jax at the time,
Yep.
and working with Kruger at county, staffing reports, if they were going to get something done. It was all technical based questions, and it was stuff that was openly talked about, like with us. So, I mean, the whole thing is horseshit. And so I think that is interesting. The other part of this is clearly it's funny because on this, when she is saying, and I was like, do you have an explanation for what's going on? She's like, I didn't do anything. And she got defensive. But she's like, I don't even know what happened. Well, no fucking shit. We didn't know what happened. We did not know why he got put on.
Everybody thought it was a retaliatory action based from the prior mayor after his hissy fit after council,
Yeah.
and John Walsh.
And obviously, after reading the ban report, it should have been disciplinary leave for everything that was mentioned. Why would they say non-disciplinary?
Maybe because they didn't know. But the point is, we didn't know. I had nothing to do with it. We didn't know why he got put on leave. We were trying to figure it out. We thought because, again, Rick had
The timing
a
was
tissy fit, which we now know from the other records on the episode that he should have, or did know that there was going to be a reduction in 24-hour coverage. And the new one, in one of the new documents, it's interesting because in that one, it actually talks about, has Joe Hogue and talking about the 20-hour schedule. And he wanted the 20 hours.
That was in 21, I believe, is when that email was written.
It's absolutely batshit crazy. It's like, it's so wild. And then I wanted to talk about really quick on the, because Mercedes, you get drug into this. I didn't know. I mean, you didn't even know how popular you were. You're gonna be in this report.
Whoop, whoop.
But on October 2nd, a woman named Mercedes Massey, otherwise known as the Pitbull, was made public comments at the council meeting, which included a statement from former Mayor Scholl had not toured the police department and had not done a ride along with the police department. Ms. Massey asked if Scholl's lack of participation was because of lack of qualifications to do a ride along. This seemed a clear reference to whether or not Scholl could pass a criminal background screen. Apparently, Scholl has some history with drug use. An online inquiry showed that Miss Massey. That Mercedes Massey is the daughter of Terry and Jennifer. While there could be another explanation, it seems notable that these specific points Greenway rising in text to the union are communicated at the council meeting by the daughter, Jennifer Massey. Given the perceived relationship between Greenway and Miss Massey, the perception of the Greenway was involved in getting Terry Massey run for sheriff. The perception of the Massey family could be involved with the Greenway is understandable. Holy shit. Okay. So, would have been amazing?
To actually interview somebody?
Like if I were interviewed? Like
No.
weird. Like super weird, right? Because if you want like information, wouldn't that be nice? Like if you wanted to have, you interviewed a citizen, right? That had a falling out with us. One citizen, it appears in this entire thing, that we had a falling out with, that offered their assistance. Okay.
Convenient.
It was that to me is very interesting. But in addition to that, here's the deal. Like if somebody would have asked me about this, I would have said directly, I told Mercedes this. It came from me, and it did come from Greenway. This conversation happened when I was on the Citizen Budget Committee in 2020, I believe 2024. And it was offered that all of the council and the budget committee could do a ride along. And he encouraged everybody to do that. I was interested, even though I was not really interested in doing a ride along. I wanted to see what it was like. I'd never been on one. I contacted the Oregon Ethics Board. I made sure it was okay, did all of those things. And then once I had the clear, I actually asked Greenway, said, hey, has anybody else, signed up to do this? And I believe at the time, Lou Mason, which was the chair, he said he signed up. And I believe Councilor Sundin signed up. I said, is that it? And none of the rest of the council had signed up. And he said, well, I don't believe Rick can go because of I don't think he passes the background screen. And that's where it came from, literally where it came from. So if you would have asked me the stupid ass question, I would have given you the answer. But instead, you write this bullshit in here and like, it's just insane to me.
And that's a really common practice. Like if you go with any law enforcement agency to do a ride along, there's a whole packet you have to fill out, and they do run your background.
So I have another question. If they interviewed Mr. Band, which I have an issue with some of this report because, like, you're not supposed to give opinions. Like, you should be reporting factual information as a private investigator or somebody doing an investigation. That's my opinion. Or if you're going to state something as an opinion, you should specifically say it is my opinion of these things. But if they interviewed Terry, right, then why didn't they ask Terry about, hey, did Greenway ask you to run for sheriff? Did any of that shit? Because he didn't. It was actually people in the association that asked him to run. It wasn't Greenway. After the people in the association asked him to run, and this is in the Hush podcast too, by the way, asked him to run, then he cleared it with the lieutenant at the time, which was Hogue, and then Greenway to make sure it was okay.
Well, now going back through all of this, I think we see that there was kind of a blueprint to how this whole thing was going to go from a certain individual.
You're talking about what we talked about in the first episode, where we have Matt Smith's letter that was created, and it appears, because I did a crosswalk roadmap, it appears that the majority of how this blueprint for the entire band investigation it's framed out from Matt's email, is what you're trying to say.
No.
Oh, help me out.
I'm talking about
'Cause that's true,
how the city attorney was kind of directing this whole thing too.
Oh, okay, got you. Well, the other one is true too.
And
for
like,
the actual investigation.
yes, but he was kind of planting seeds before the investigation even started.
Aiken was definitely trying to direct the investigation.
That's your
Yes.
opinion that he was trying
My
to,
opinion.
that he was trying to direct it?
Yeah, based off of the emails that we read, and these are things you should look for. That type of
Is
stuff.
that? I mean, I don't know. Is that normal? Do city attorneys normally do that?
Well, I also want to know, has anybody conflicted anything? Is there any, is there any relationships between, and I don't know, between Jim Band and Joe Hogue, or Jim Band and Aiken and Jim Band, or Aiken and Joe? Is there any historical relationships that are there? Are these the most appropriate people who should have been doing it? I'm not saying that an investigation shouldn't have been completed. I think that if there was concerns, an investigation should always, but I'm just saying that we're back to the supplemental. Can we get back to the supplemental report? Because this is what I had an issue with. This is the whole thing, the holy grail. This started the entire concern for the records request was this supplemental report.
3 pages.
And this was done in March, correct?
March 10th.
And Band originally interviewed all the officers and everything back in December.
Is that when they were?
December. Mhm.
So Jim Band did the original investigation on, I haven't read all the documents.
So it was after the election. So wouldn't you think, I mean, I looked through all the transcripts. There was no mention of you and colluding with Greenway of 24-hour coverage. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, because it didn't exist.
Absolutely. That's this is the narrative again that's being painted, convenient narrative.
Anybody that goes through this document, I would like to, besides an opinion piece of that there's a few people that there's an opinion, where is there any document? Because it didn't fucking exist. It did not fucking happen. And so you cannot manifest stuff no matter how hard you try. And now we're 2,800 documents into this shit, and it's still the same thing. And I don't give a shit that I'm cussing either, because quite honestly, after over a year, come the fuck on.
So what prompted this supplemental report in March if he was done with interviews and everything in December? Why did this come about now in March?
Did somebody have their panties in a bunch? Did something not happen? Oh, wait a sec. March 5th, there was a city council meeting where they tried to put Joe Hogue in as current chief.
That was on March 5th. So that did happen. It's in public record that Gutterson had wanted to get Hogue on for chief for the appointment. And then there's also public records out there, also conversations on, Gunnarsson and my conversations about in February, actually.
I was going to say that was late January or early February,
I
right?
saw him on a page, and it was like February 6th, and it was more like, Joe's doing fine. Time is not of the essence. Let's get our governing rules fixed and all of those type of things. That's in a public record that's sitting out there right now. Again, in my citizen capacity, I'm talking about public records that are available out there that everybody can look at. That was in the text messages. And then March 5th was the council meeting that there was Peter Hicks on that meeting that was talking about, if I recall correctly, 6-month contract for Joe Hogue.
So this came after that.
So it came after that.
But I didn't right around March 6th. I think I saw some records. My understanding is that Joe actually resigned and then rescinded his resignation.
That's in a declaration. So that was the records I think you're talking about. I don't think many people have seen it, actually, was a declaration, because in my declaration I put that in there. So it is out there that he had, I think it's 3 times actually. 3 times, I think, around the 19th too of March was the same thing. But it is out there in a public record if people want to look at that piece. That is correct.
Didn't Aiken also text the police union attorney also about something?
So we saw that's out on social media too. I don't remember which page that currently is on, but that was out there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that happened right around that time.
So we have the 5th, then we have the 6th, then we have, I think it's the, oh look, we're fans.
Yeah. Let's see. Why are you laughing at me? I have this email that I pulled up off of the governmental transparency page that Nick Helmick has up there, and it's from Dan Thinnell. Have you seen this one?
Dan Thinnell's the association's attorney. Yeah, I saw it. That's the one I was talking about.
And yeah,
I think it's super bothersome, quite honestly.
And it's written to Peter Hicks from Jordan Ramus. He's the city attorney, right? Yeah. Says caution, external email, verify sender before opening any attachment. Peter, in the follow-up to our call yesterday, please find a summary of events over the last week concerning St. Helens Police Association matters that relate to the investigation of Brian Greenway and Brian Cutright. As we discussed, the city and association are slated to begin arbitration of Officer Cutright's termination on March 31st. Before I begin the summary, I am providing to you the decision to be Oregon Employment Department concerning his unemployment benefits. The OED determined the discrepancies between Cutright's report and the shift activity report were not willful. Cutright and Joe Hogue both testified. I have the audio and will soon have a transcript of the audio. On Thursday, March 6th, at approximately 6:30 p.m., I had a phone conversation with Aiken Blitz. The conversation followed a text from Mr. Blitz at 6:25 p.m. that read as follows: Dan, please call me. I need a conversation and I need to know it will stay between us. Pretty urgent. Mr. Blitz wanted to discuss Joe Hogue's status with the city and the apparent disagreement amongst the city council on whether he should be appointed or if there should be an open process to search for a chief. Note, I did not know at the time of this call there had been council meetings with discussions and a decision towards a 360 evaluation of each department head of the city.
Wait, did you see each department head? Each department head of the city.
That would be all of them, I would think.
That's interesting. So not just one, but all? All? Can you read that again?
Note, I did not know at the time of this call there had been a council meeting with discussion towards a 360 evaluation of each department head of the city. Wasn't singled out, just each department head. What, there's 6, 8 department heads? I don't know. Something like that. But Aiken wanted the St. Helens Police Association to lobby for Lieutenant Hogue to be appointed without further outside review or process for hiring a replacement. Mr. Blitz discussed the stability of the department. I told him I would need to discuss that with my client, the association, and that obviously I would need to share details of our call in order to advise my client. There was a portion of this call that turned extremely uncomfortable and I believe was improper. Mr. Blitz specifically mentioned Mayor Jennifer Massey as being the prime board member standing in the way of the immediate appointment of Lieutenant Hogue to the chief's job. Mr. Blitz alluded to negative comments directed at the mayor during Jim Band's investigation of Brian Greenway, and that he had Band keep those comments out of his report. Mr. Blitz commented something to the effect that maybe those negative comments need to come out. I did take notes of the conversation as I was returning. I did not take notes of the conversation as I was returning from a work trip. Did that sound like blackmail? They had information that maybe they thought would get released if you didn't fall in line?
Perhaps that was a supplemental report.
You think?
I mean, that just can't be true. I mean, nobody's going to pressure a voting member of a governing body to vote or do something that, you know, for pressure. Come on.
Well, Mr. Blitz commented about the mayor confused me. First, to my knowledge, Mr. Blitz represents the city of St. Helens regarding the Cutright arbitration and owes an ethical duty to the city as their client. Would that be an unethical attorney? Possibly. That's what I read there. One attorney would know when another attorney was being unethical, wouldn't you think?
I mean, it sounds like that there's concerns on whether somebody thinks that there is unethical behavior. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think that our citizens of the city of St. Helens would appreciate at any point, if that's true, to have their elected officials in situations where they're being pressured or feel like, you know, I don't know. You can't really, I don't think it's really blackmail, but I don't know how else you'd say it, pressured into making a decision that they didn't feel like maybe was the best decision, or they weren't ready to make a decision. Like, I don't think citizens want that for the city. It can't be true.
Sounds like fucking blackmail to me.
Pretty and petty as
I think it sounds like something, but I don't think that that's what, I don't think that that would be a good thing for our city or the citizens. I know I'm here in a citizen capacity. I certainly wouldn't want any of our elected officials being in a situation that somebody was pressuring them to make a decision on my behalf that was not the best decision.
What my concern would be is if they were pretty comforted by doing this, do you think that maybe this has gone on in the past and it's status quo?
Well, I think one of the questions that came up from another citizen that was reviewing these documents was, is this an example of the good old boy? Is this an example of is this an example of that?
How long was this person the city attorney?
I think approximately 30 years, 25, 30 years. I can't say for certain. I don't know. I don't really know this individual. So
Do other cities have any knowledge of him or have concerns with him as well?
I mean, people have vocalized lately their concerns and have had similar situations. So
That he's not probably working in the best interest of the city. Like, how could you represent both sides if you're supposed to be working for the city? It's like you're working against the city, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one, right? Because we want to walk that line because our nonprofit, is reading these documents, and we want to make sure that, we're not saying that we think that the attorney is unethical or has done things that are inappropriate. That's for other bodies and the citizens to decide based on the information that they've been given. I think other cities, I know for a fact I've had other individuals that are in certain capacities reach out and also share similar situations. So I'm not exactly sure, but I think it is concerning. And again, anytime, there's always, I think, we put pressure as a nonprofit on elected officials, like, hey, we did it with tourism. Like, we were pretty bold about it, right? But in the shadows, like, hey, you need to get an RFP. We don't care if, if the person that had the original contact had the first right of refusal, but like get an RFP that benefits the city. And so we were pressuring, but at some point, and especially, I suppose, if we're looking at it from the standpoint, anybody that is, representing a body, regardless of what it is, especially if they're, if there is any pressure on voting members, then that's not what I personally want for our government. So I don't know if I really we kind of answered that question, but I think that we all agree with that, right?
I definitely agree.
And then, so that was that supplemental that we just talked about that we reviewed in these public records are on the 10th. And it's funny because I just find this interesting that this is the report that everybody wanted to see, right? This is the one where there was citizens addressing council and the city, like, you're withholding things, you're doing all of these things to not produce this report. This report is literally like
3 pages.
Exactly. And it's funny because the same cast of characters are not posting this report, which is the one they were waiting for. So I just think that this is
maybe they're waiting for their ambulance chasing attorney to put together their narrative, and so they can all jump on board and post it then.
Do you think someone that maybe could have been mentioned in this report obviously knew it existed and was telling other people to ask for this?
Are you talking about, if we're saying, do we think that potentially Miss Gilbert, that is listed in this report, was asking about it? I believe that would be accurate because I think this individual came to council, so it's on a public record, and made a comment about it. So that means that, obviously if somebody was interviewed for it, they would wonder where their information is if it was not in the original report.
Well,
precisely.
Right? Does that make sense?
Exactly. But
I mean, I would wonder too. To be honest, I would wonder too. Like, where is my information if I participated as a citizen in a report? I think that's. I would agree with her. I would wonder where my information was.
Unless initially the interviewer didn't think there was anything of substance. Oh wait.
We don't know what the interviewer thought, but it's interesting when you read through the stuff. And again, the amount of information that we had, and in all fairness, it's like, I still come back to, I think it's unfortunate that things happened the way they did with Miss Gilbert, but I think that collectively, when you see, like, I didn't know what was going on, like, that's reflected in text messages, because we were working on things, trying to figure things out that we were not, like, we didn't know what was going on, and we had our own thoughts about, like, what potentially could have happened. And so that's where,
well, and
I was just going to say, she seemed confused about it, and it's reflected, appears to be reflected in this document. Like, she just didn't know what was going on.
Well, I also remember another statement she made that she was so confident in that there was no FBI investigation going on into the tourism thing. But I think that was also proven in the latest email drop too, when there was wanted to know who was representing the city that the FBI could actually send the federal subpoena to. Yep. Kind of weird, but there's no investigation, right?
Yeah. The other thing I found kind of interesting, and I don't know if anybody else did, but pertaining to Cutright. So,
I noticed.
You did notice that?
I did.
What did you notice?
I thought it was interesting when Cutright was going through all of this stuff. I believe they had hired.
All of this stuff was in, like, he was dealing with his own issues, like, because he was terminated in August of 2024, right?
Yes.
Approximately.
Yes.
Okay.
And I knew he was saying it was wrongful retaliation. That's why he was going to arbitration.
Okay.
And they had hired Jim Band to do Cutright's investigation. And then when we found out that Jim Band was also doing this investigation, and I believe I saw in there that Officer Cutright was interviewed for Greenway, I was like, how awkward. Like, this guy, like, this person just did your investigation and deemed you a liar, essentially got you fired, but then interviewed you for Greenway?
You go from creditable to uncreditable back to credible? Yeah, weird.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because I saw like in the documents that there is the arbitration stuff in there. There's some information in there for sure as well. Yeah, super wild. And still, where are we at? What do they not say? Where is the 24-hour coverage in all of these documents? That's a total rhetorical question. Like, where do I show up anywhere in those? In my as I was campaigning or thereafter? Where?
I haven't made it through all 2,800 plus pages yet. I've yet to see it anywhere. Has anybody seen it?
I mean, Control Elf.
Is it in the room with us? Like what?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's absolutely insane. So like at one point, when is the madness going to stop? Like that's what like for me, like personally, I would love to see like, you know, the acceptance of, okay, potentially I was wrong, and it doesn't exist. And this was a whisper campaign and narratives instead of kept trying to double down on stuff that it's like, it just,
Well, you have to keep doubling down if you're going to try to run for another elected office. You can't admit you made a mistake.
I think being more humble and saying that you made a mistake goes further.
Yeah, I think getting to a point where the citizens are seeing that you are losing even more credibility that you've already lost, that at some point you cut your losses and try to start making positive change.
Isn't that important, though, if you could just say, hey, like, I made a mistake. This is what I thought. Doesn't that go a lot further than continuing to double down and, like, waste money and like just create so much division? Like, I think that people respect that a lot more. Anyway, this supplemental report, obviously that was on the 10th, it's a big wah, wah, wah. Right.
Well, wasn't there like something on the 11th, like a big manifesto, as I like to call it, from Aiken, that a bunch of words all put together that they were trying to make a bunch of hay out of online, that they kept referencing that one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to find it online. I think it should be addressed. Me personally, let me see.
The one on March 11th, that's in the public record request, and it's actually the band 0000533 one.
Yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm. That's the pages. If people are looking for pages, by the way, they're on the bottom, and they run in order. So if you see any references in the future from us, you're looking at the bottom of the page. So the one that the supplemental report that we're talking about is in the band 000501 report. That's on the title of it. And then if you look at the page numbers, it was on 517. And then what Adam's referring to is it is called the situation report and analysis. And this is from Aiken. So the same one that was part of the email that you just read from.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And of course I didn't do my homework, so I can't find it.
Yeah, I'm not going to really comment on that besides I can just say that it is bewildering the amount of inflammatory, inaccurate, and unfactual statements that are in this report. Like, it is bewildering. It is, in my opinion, an opinion piece. And so, I mean, just literally every single paragraph almost that I can take major issue with on factual content. And it's...
Bree, you're the one who did a lot of the reading on this documentation. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that manifesto, as I like to call it?
Yeah, I thought it was odd that it came from the city attorney. I thought it was also, again, there was no really evidence to back it. It was just, Jen did this. And it was like, okay, I mean, honestly, if I didn't like somebody or if I had a narrative to push, I could write a freaking 5-page manifesto on a lot of people too.
I think that's cutting yourself short. I think you could write a lot more.
Probably. It wouldn't be as nice as his, but I mean his isn't nice, but
Yeah.
I would have some bigger use of words. I mean, how many rumors have we heard about people? I mean, we could just start splitting that, in paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, and it just has no merit for me.
So I was kind of curious on this part too, on page 547, where it has the probable alliance between Mayor Massey and Police Union Attorney Dan Thinnell. Was that put in there because of the email?
So you have to cover his ass for
I guess
blackmailing
we
somebody?
would only have to speculate.
That's the whole thing, is speculation.
Sounds like he had to cover his ass.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. Anybody that reads through this, I would hope that they would have concerns for this document. So it's super.
And he kept saying, I'm working with Joe. I worked with Joe on this. I worked with Joe on this. I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah.
So was he representing Joe or was he representing the city? Oh.
Crickets.
Maybe that's we don't know. Maybe that's a big question that needs to be asked.
Yeah.
Or dug into deeper.
You mean have an investigation?
Possibly.
Well, what's interesting is, I'm just not going to comment. I'm here in my citizen capacity, and I'm reading this document on a public platform that has been released. And I have very strong opinions and also have more information that I just cannot disclose at this time. That I just say that people should take a step back and they should use deductive reasoning and look at things from a very speculative or concerning lens. And I will leave it at that. And I'm excited. I think there's another record request going to get ready to drop sometime in March before the 16th. I'm super excited about that as well. You guys know it. I'm driving you crazy about it, about getting those records out there. So despite what people have thought for a very long time or what they say, it's like I think I've been the number one champion to try to that wanted them released and just had to recuse myself because I wanted them released so bad.
Can we clear that up too? Like, did the city own bands' records? Is that why there was a whole lawsuit with that for them to try to get them? Like, did you guys have all of bands' records like readily to release?
So I can't speak, and I'm not going to speak from an official capacity. What I can say is based on the opinion that was rendered for Mr. Toski in this records request, it appeared that since the city had the ability to view the documents, that then it became a public record that should be produced. If I would think that if a contract was written that, excluded all work product, then it would be excluded. But the way I understood the opinion or the lawsuit language, and I'm not a lawyer, would be that since they were able to view, they become public record. And quite honestly, my personal opinion is they should be public record.
Yeah, so kind of like if, like in the medical field, we have records, like we're primary care, and I have podiatry's records, I have my ortho records, and people come to us and say, oh, I need my report from podiatry. Well, they're not our records. I can't release those to you. You need to go to that person or vice versa and get the records from them.
It's all about contractual agreement. So it's going to be nomenclature that is in a contractual agreement that allows it or disallows it, I think. So either way, I mean, I think it's great for the public to be able to see records and get especially like I said, when there's been an exhaustive nonstop narrative being pushed. I think that having the transparency and the public records out there where people can see them and look at them and review them, and then for God's sake, ask the freaking questions about them. Like that, I think is one of the most helpful things on the context. But I would say to go back and look at timelines because I think that they paint a bigger picture, and what is not there and what's not there is basically what I was accused of during the election, that didn't exist and didn't happen. I don't know how many times in languages I need to say that. Now we're 2,800, almost 2,800 documents in, and there's still no proof. So at some point, maybe we can move past this and, stop perpetrating this narrative that doesn't exist. So that's my hope. And we'll be on to part 3 soon.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, we need to get to what did St. Pierre say?
What would St. Pierre say when the drama comes out to play? What would St. Pierre say? Let's hear it St. Pierre's way.
Does anybody feel like Adam get nervous when this comes up? Because because he was in the doghouse last week.
Am I out of the doghouse yet?
No.
Not really.
Okay.
No, not. I think we're still like kind
You
of.
still owe us dinner.
You still. Oh, thank you, Bree. He does owe us dinner. Also,
That makes 2.
we're all. I think Bree's still looking for the.
Adam, we could go to dinner and have a tie.
Oh, could be, yes.
I mean, we could just get
Should
it
we
done
start
at the
picking
same
random
time.
months where we just go out to dinner and see if he's just smart enough to find us?
Yeah, we could just tie the competition.
So, I mean, and you're still looking for the Long Beach Clamor, right?
I am. I'm still working on that.
So we're working on that. If you haven't watched the last episode, Adam was in some deep shit because of the fact that he,
Ghosted us.
yeah,
MIA.
we thought he was dead. So, but yeah, anyway, so the question I think have for you today is pretty simple. I think you're gonna like this one. There's been accusations online that your girlfriend writes your posts for you or your comments, and I thought that was fantastic. So I thought, oh my gosh, do you have a girlfriend that we didn't know about? Or what? Because and I might have like responded back like, wow, this is fantastic because, hey, ladies, if you're single and ready to mingle, we're trying to find a date and a girlfriend for
You guys have been pretty much a failure at that. I warned you guys in the beginning that it's not as easy as you think.
No. You can't say that. You can't put it on us when you're not open with us about it either. How are we supposed to help you?
Also, if you would let us help like build you a profile online, like I think that would also help because remember that one time we figured out what your platform was? Remember you didn't want to give it to us?
Yeah, that was way back when.
We
Yeah.
figured it out. But anyway, so back to this question. Do you have a girlfriend or anybody that writes your stuff online?
Yep.
So you write your own stuff and type your own stuff out.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense because half the time we don't know what the hell you're saying. And we've talked about this quite a bit. It's funny because I'm so incredibly like long-winded. I write narratives, which is funny because I've done that forever. And people always accuse me of being on like the chat GPTs and stuff or whatever like that is. It's like I do have Grammarly, but actually, when did you guys get Grammarly?
I don't know, when I was like in high school or
the thing is,
freshman year of college.
I really like that. Anyway, but I'm very long-winded, always have been. And you are short and cryptic. But
Yeah, how it normally goes is we'll go into council and be like, Adam, are you going to say anything? And he's like, yep.
but we don't know
What are you going to talk about? Not sure yet. Okay, cool. So I'm almost kind of holding my breath. Like,
Well, I
what is
usually
Adam
wait to
gonna say?
see what the cast of characters idiots come up with, if I need to respond or not. And if I don't get up there.
Is that why you come up sometimes and you're like, I wasn't going to say anything, but like, and I'm just like, oh, help me. Like, help me.
I personally loved your last council comment.
Well, there's something we need to eliminate in this community, and it's all the pedos. And
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, there's a problem, and we need to address that. And they've just become so comforted in our community because obviously there's a lot of them here. And
Yeah.
Why did you make the comment and what was the comment that you made?
my comment was that I think there's a problem when there's a 60-plus-year-old man who, when his objection to a side-by-side ordinance, the first thing he comes up with is there was a naked boy riding a bike. Why would that even come across somebody's mindset? That's the one thing that, oh my gosh, they're going to have side-by-sides. We're going to have a 60. We're going to have young boys riding around naked. What? How does a brain get to that point? I mean,
Especially when the mother nor the individual he's speaking of have any form of recollection about this ever happening. And now other citizens are posting it, which is absolutely just unfactual as can be and quite disgusting, vulgar. They're disgustingly sick. And I'm not going to go on because I have a lot of words I can say about these individuals, but I can recommend that there's a lot of places that can help with this form of thing, and I suggest they seek it.
Yeah.
So you made the comment. So somebody said that, and then you came up and made a comment about that, and it was the same. That individual. Oh, and
they doubled down
on another platform.
on another public platform.
Okay, I didn't hear anything on that, so I didn't hear what that was, but obviously you did.
Basically, they went on another platform and said, well, yeah, I remember. And then, his mother got up there and defended it like she didn't remember it. And it's like, why are you still talking about this?
Which would be like 20 plus years ago. So, very, very young child.
So this still really bothered you, actually.
It really did.
Yeah, I can tell, because you normally are not like this hung up or passionate about really anything. So this bothered you quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a special place in hell that I would like to guide a lot of people to.
Okay, so that's where that comment came from.
Yes.
Got it.
Oh, wait, no, somebody wrote it for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, it's a crazy world out there, but that is something I think that needs to be addressed.
You know how much I hate taxes. If I could get every one of those individuals to that special place, I'm willing to spend a lot of money.
Interesting. Well, it is what it is, but I thank you for clarifying that, because people did not realize what I think was going on. And then somebody had posted it to our page. I don't really understand the whole verbiage behind what their post was, per se. They were giving you kudos. Let me just say that. I don't know what the Raz means, but anyway, I don't understand that.
Raz.
I don't know. It was something weird about you're the man, or thank you for speaking up, but it was anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was that you were speaking up about that, and your displeasure of that comment, which is just really,
It's disgusting. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well,
All right.
Now we know we have solved this mystery that you write your own posts. You don't have somebody else doing it.
And I can honestly say, for everybody who thinks I'm all those other fake accounts, well, thank you for keeping me in your thoughts and prayers. I have one account I use. It is Adam St. Pierre.
Why? Speaking of which, I know we're jumping off, but why if all of a sudden somebody says something negative on, it's usually one of the casted characters, they automatically assume it's you. And when did Facebook allow all these nicknames and when did that happen?
When obviously bullying's been accepted into our community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's new.
It's a reality. They wonder why kids in middle school and stuff are, unfortunately taking their lives at a young age and stuff. And it's because adults act like this and kids are learning from it. And it's disgusting behavior. And it's unbelievable the amount of people that actually condone this stuff. It's really sad that this is the way our direction's going.
Yeah, but we allow anonymous posts.
Yeah, but if it's anything of bullying or harm or, doxing or anything, no, we don't.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
I agree. We take that.
And a lot of people want to be anonymous because of the fact that they get bullied and doxed and treated like shit for voicing their opinion. I'm a daughter of you. And because I've come out and even said something, I've become a target. People come after me. And it's I'm just a voice in the community, a younger generation. I want to live here for the rest of my life. I've resided here my whole life. I pay taxes here. And all of a sudden, because of affiliation with someone or because it's something they go against, gosh forbid that I have an opinion on it.
Well, isn't the same individual we're talking about that made that comment, wasn't there, that was the individual that got banned from our page because said something to one of the citizens, I think it was the last straw, where it was I hope you go out in the woods
and take your life where someone can't find you and the animals will drag you off. Yes.
So what you're trying to say is the love has been strong for a while, is what you're trying to say.
Disgustingly unhealthy.
Well, what's funny too is because remember when they were coming in and saying disgustingly unethical, but they were actually talking. If you go back to look at the original comment in the paragraph, this is the comprehension issue because it was actually, now I recall Dustin King talking about if Greenway was saying that's disgustingly unethical.
Right.
But then how many weeks did the cast of characters call me disgustingly unethical because of comprehension?
Well, and you still see that with Mr. Toshke with the Matt Smith said that this would be an unethical investigation. He said it would be unethical for him to do it. That's why he expedited it out and provided the information, and the FBI took it upon themselves to do an investigation.
The FBI.
Yeah. That didn't exist except there's records of it.
You've always said the FBI and IRS do great audits.
I said that in a council meeting, and amazingly enough, the week after I said that, they tried to get some I-9 documentation from some people that maybe have gotten cash payments under the table in City of St. Helens envelopes.
You're talking about...
They're quiet now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we haven't heard from them.
My favorite comment was the one that was made. How dare you try to prosecute an innocent person using your power, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, isn't that what he did to you with the
DOJ complaint when the DOJ said, get out of here, you have nothing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find the irony of the whole thing pretty humorous. Good point. All right, y'all. Well, until the next episode, episode number 3, we'll be diving into the next public record request. Then we have 2 more sitting in the hopper too. So we might be getting another one that they're already just ready to get launched. So we might get those in between as well.
Remember, serve in silence. That's the motto.
That is serve in silence on the other side.
That's it for today. Case closed. We followed every record, every fact. No.